Hello everyone, my name is Yulia and I am from Codejig team. This video will be the second part of a working with applications data tutorial, and as in the previous video I have covered the basic operations like insert, update and delete, and also I have demonstrated how to export your data. While in this video I will show you a bit more complicated SQL queries like select with where clause, order by, group by and aggregate, and also we will work with importing your own data in your collections. In this video, we will continue working with our shop application. So let's open it, have a short review. And as you can see, here we have a pages to manage our shop, to view the shippers, orders, suppliers, and products. And in case you need to update your collection with importing an Excel file, we first of all recommend you to use our export function to view what should be the format and structure of the following Excel file. So after exporting, as you can see, we have the first column to be for identifier and another ones are created in application for a product data type. In case you need to import some new instances, you don't have to create an identifier column because it will be automatically generated for each new instance. But in case you need to update some already in existing row, you need to store this identifier column and the following ID for the instance you need to update. Also, another important thing to mention is that the name of a page in your Excel file should be the same as a data type you are importing this file to. So let's start testing our input function with adding a new product into our shop. As you can see, I have already prepared a file with a structure of a fields as in a product data type, and there is no identifier column because it will be automatically generated for all the new instances. So going to our product page and clicking on import function, we now select the file we need to be imported, which is called products to import in my case. And now all the newly created instances are now in my collection. You should be also very careful with formatting the rows in your Excel files because I, for example, have left one empty and now we have an empty instance in our collection. So let's delete it to not disturb us in future. Another situation when using import may appear very useful is when you need to update the whole collection values for some columns. And for this, in your Excel file, you can only store the identifier column and the column you want to update. In our case, it is a price, which has increased in 20%. So now going to our product page, we select import function. We need to specify the file with updated values. And as you can see, the prices has been changed in our collection. And as for now, we know how to import and export our data. Let's continue working on manipulating it. For this, in the previous part of this video, we have created a special management page and we have created a buttons for performing the insert, update and delete operations. Let's continue with a bit more difficult SQL queries to be reproduced with our buttons and actions on them. So let's start with filtering our data with using the where clause. For this, the case will be when we need to find out all the products which belong for some category. First of all, we need to add a field to specify the product category we need to find out the products for. So let's add this select on our form. And of course, we need to add a collection where we will store the products for this category. So let's store it out here. And also we can add a button to perform an action of filtering on it. So let's give it a name, select product, for example, and the same, create a server action for this button, which will be also select products. And now after we created this action, we are redirected to the code block editor. So in this function, we need to reproduce a basic select with where clause query. We will do this with using our built-in where block, which has as a parameter, first of all, a stream of some data type. In our case, we will iterate through the whole instances of a product data type. So for each instance, we need now to filter it with some condition. In our case, the condition is that this instance's product category value should be equal to the same we have inputted on our page. So we get the value from our page. And Now we need to compare it. And the result of this filtering with where clause need to be saved in our product collection on our page. So we set this collection to be filled with filtered products. And now let's save and publish our application to see the outcome. After our application has been successfully published, we can now open it to test our action. For this, we go to the management page and we can select some product category, which could be, for example, seafood. And now clicking on select, we have our collection filled with all the products which have a seafood category. And now let's move to the SQL to write the following query. In our database, we have a table to store all the instances of a product data type. And out here, we can write our query for a select with a where clause. So what we need is a select everything from our product one table, a where clause, which will compare our field for a product category to some specific instance. To find out which field responds to the product category, we can go to the product data type and copy the ID for a product category field. Now we can copy it out here in our where statement, but as you can see, this field is a for product category and it also has an ID part. So the product category should be equal to the ID of some specific instance, and in our case, let's select it to be a seafood product category instance. We can copy the ID from the URL and now paste it to our query, and let's run it to see if the output will be the same on our form and in this database. As you can see, we also have 4 instances with all having the ID equal to the seafood category ID. In order to make our working with queries a bit more comfortable, what we can do in our product data type, we can rename some fields with their system names, and then also their names in the database will be changed. For example, for product category, we can edit the system name to be a product category as well. And now, after updating and publishing our application, the changes will also be made in our database. I have also edited a system name for all the other fields from a product data type, and now if we will go to our database, as you can see, all the fields are renamed with some specific system name. And now let's go on with a bit more complicated where clause. For example, for our product, we need to check not only if it belongs to some product category, but also if it is available. And now in our filter for a where clause, we need to combine 2 conditions, the first one for a category and the second one for availability. For this we will use a AND block, and the first statement will be for product category, and the second one we need to check if our instance's discontinued field value is equal to the false, so that our product to be available. So we get the false value, also set it as a parameter to equality, and now let's save and publish our application to see if both the conditions are checked up for our product. And now to check if both the statements are working in our where filter, let's first of all open our application and go to the product collections. Here, as you can see, only one product is marked up as discontinued and it belongs to the dairy products category. So now going to our management page, let's try to select the product category to be a dairy product, and clicking on our select button, as you can see, there is no product which was marked up as discontinued. And now let's continue with writing the following SQL query. So now we can use our newly created system names, and we again need to write a select from our product one table with a where clause, and the first statement will be to check the product category. So the product category ID should be equal to some of the product category instances ID. In our case, we can, for example, copy for a dairy product to compare the results. And so if our product category ID is equal to the dairy products ID, And our second statement will be to check the discontinued value. So we write discontinued if it is false, so the product must be available. And let's run our query to compare the result on our management page and here. And the output is only the one product. Here is the ID of it, and also we can check the ID for a product we got on our page. And as you can see, the ID is actually the same as we got in our SQL query. As you can see, using a where filter, you can combine different statements and in different ways. And now on our management page, we will try to reproduce an SQL query with a join clause. This filtering action will be a little bit more complicated because each order in our application has a collection of products in it, and what we'll try to do, we'll try to filter all the orders collection to find out only those which have some specific product included in this collection. As you can see, I have a little bit modified our management page to make it look a bit more structured. And now let's add into this newly created group box a field we need to filter our orders collection. So the first field we need to add will be a product select, for which we need to find out the orders for. So let it be the product in order. So let's add this select in group box. Also, we need to add a table to store the result of the orders filtering. So this will be the orders with a product collection. And of course, we need to add a button to perform an action of filtering on a click on it. So let's give it a title to be a select orders. And now let's again make it look a bit more pretty. So let's store the result on the right part. And now let's create an action on click on our button to filter all the orders collection. So we'll give it a name, select orders for product. And now we are ready to be redirected to the code block editor. And in this action, we again need to use our where code block to iterate through the whole stream of an order data type. So let's get it. And what we need to do, we need for each order in this stream to check out if the product we have specified on our page, if it is in our orders product collection. To check this, we will use the code block, which is to check is some item, in our case the product we have specified on page, if it is in some collection, in the collection of products in some order. So let's check this statement, and the result of this filter should be stored in our collection of orders with product. So we set it to be field with a result of this where filter. And after publishing our application, we can now go to the management page, specify some product and test if our button works as follows. So clicking on our button, we now see our orders collection filled with different instances. And as you can see, they really contain our gate toast in the products collection. And now let's try to write the same SQL query for the action we have done with a code blocks. As you can see, this is a table to store the order collection in our application database, and to store the related product collections for each order, there is a separate specific join table for order and order product collection, which only stores the fields with ID of an order and ID of a product, which should be in the related product collection. So in our SQL query, we write a select from order table join with this table on the IDs, and then we need to find out if some specific product is in the collection of products for order. So let's copy the ID of some of the products, for example the gate toast which we were selecting on our management page, and check if we can find out all the orders with this toast in their products collection. And running this query, we have some result, and we have also 3 orders the same as we got on our management page. And although there is no specific join code block, you can use the existing functionality to cover the connection between the collection in your application. And now let's go on with one a bit more different example of a join with code blocks. And the next case to work with connected collections will be about active orders. As you can see, each order in our application has a related customer, and the customer is marked up to be an active or not active. And on our management page, let's try to find out only those orders which have an active customer. And to display the active orders on our management page, we create a collection of an order data type, and let's give it a name active orders and drag it on our form. And as we want to display the active orders each time we load our management page, what we can do, we can create a custom action, not for a button, but on a trigger, which will be load. And now we are redirected to the code block editor. So on a load function for our management page, we need to fill our active orders collection to be filled with a filtered with a var block stream of the orders. So we iterate through the whole instances of an order data type. And for each order in our application orders collection, we need to check if its customers is active field value is equal to the true, which means the customer in the order is really active. And now let's save and publish our application to test if our load function will work properly. And now let's have a look if on load of our management page we will have a collection of active orders. So checking the customers in them, we see that they are marked up to be active, and yes. And now we can move to our database to write the following SQL query. As you can see, our order table stores a reference to the customer, which is an ID from the following customer table, and therefore in our query we write a join with a customer table on the ID of a customer, and then we also check if the following field, which is active, is marked up as true. And running this query, we have 5 orders which are active orders, and the same 5 results we have on our management page. And now, as we now have to manipulate our data with using a where filter block, we'll go on with a next manipulation operation, which is a sort by or order by. And for this, on our management page, we will display the latest order made in our shop. To do this, we need to first of all sort all the orders collection by the date, and only then display the latest one. And to display this latest order on our management page, we again create a field of an order data type with a latest order name and drag it on our form. But actually each order contains a lot of data about it, and we don't need to display all the details. Therefore we create a special view for our order to select which string data we need to display on our page. And in our case it could be the order date, the customer, and for example the shipper. And now after saving, what we need to do, we need to add a special code block to display our latest order on a load of the management page. Going to our load function, what we need out here, we need to sort the whole collection of an order data type in a descending way, and then the first one order will be actually the latest one. So for this we use a sort by block, which need to have a stream of some data type as a parameter. In our case it is an order data type, so we get it. And then for each order in this collection, we need to sort the whole collection of orders by the value of an order data type in a descending way. And now to display on our page the latest order, what we do, we iterate with a for each block through the whole sorted collection. So for each sorted order in the result, we need to set from our page a field of the latest order to be equal to the value of this sorted order, which will be actually the first one, and then we can break out of the loop. This will work the same as using a limit one clause in SQL query. As a result, on a lot of our management page, the collection of orders will be sorted by the orders date, and then only the latest order will be showed on our page. So let's reload our management page after publishing and view if our latest order is displayed. Here it is. As you can see, the date of this order is 30 of July, and going to our orders page and now sorting them here by order date, the latest one was really made on this date. The corresponding query to get the latest order will look like this. We simply write a select with order by a date in a descending way, and we set the limit one, and the result will be the instance of a latest order. Another important thing to mention is if you will try to sort some collection in code blocks and then to display it in some table, the order of the instances will be not sorted because the table by itself was developed to be as a set and it doesn't preserve the order of the instances. So in case you need to sort and display a sorted collection, you need to create an embedded data type and a table for this data type. And the last data manipulation we will cover in this video will be group by and aggregate. For example, for our shop, we need to group all the products by the value of a discontinued field. So we'll get the group of the available products and discontinued ones. And we also need to count the amount for each of the groups. For this, we will use group by and aggregate code block in our editor. In order to display the result of our grouping and aggregating operation, we need to add the following fields, which will be the numbers of available products and amount of discontinued products, and the action of grouping and calculating will be done on our load function. Going to our load function, we will use group and aggregate code block to stream through the whole product data type collection. Let's get it. And then for each product in this collection, we need to group it by the value of a discontinued field. And also to find out the amount for available and discontinued groups, we need to use a count function in the aggregation block. So let's add it out here, and we'll be counting our products and storing it as our amount. As a result of this code block, we'll have two groups of products, the available ones and discontinued ones, and we need to display the amounts on our management page. So we need for each group in this result to get the amount and display on the page. But first of all, we need to identify if it is available or discontinued group. So with if block, we check it. And the first case can be when our group discontinued field will be true. So we compare it to the true value. And in this case, we're working with a group of discontinued products. Therefore, we need on our page to set the field of a discontinued product amount to be equal to the according amount for this group. And now the another case will be if our group's discontinued field will be equal to false, which means we are working with available products. And in this case, we need to set the field of available products amount to be equal to our group amount. And now we can save and publish our application to see if this function will work as follows. Let's first of all go to our application and count the amount of products by ourselves. As you can see, there is only one discontinued product and all the other 13 are available. And going to our management page on a load, as you can see, the amount was calculated right. And to get the same amounts in SQL, we write the following query where we again use a group by clause to group our products by discontinued field. And also we use an aggregation function count. And as you can see, the result of this query is the same as we got on our management page. One more useful thing I need to mention is that all the operations we have made on a data stream from a database could be also applied to the collection you have already loaded in your applications. I hope that after watching this tutorial, you will know how to filter, sort, group, and aggregate the data from your applications. Thanks for watching. Bye.